Welcome to Trading Lounge and the global indices, starting with the S&P 500. So we have seen the market roll over. However, we don't have 5 waves down here for the S&P or for the NASDAQ, but we do have 5 waves down for Apple, which we'll look at. And we've been using Apple as the sort of the core of the markets. So when we look at this particular pattern through here, if we look at the SPY, because the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ was looking a little bit very difficult to count it up into this little space here. So we used ETFs to handle that situation. So with the SPY here, we counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which was nice and neat, and then a corrective move. And because we got 5 here, we could expect another 5 over here. Now, even though we don't have 5 waves down here, we only have 3 waves down here so far for this. It is rather long, so it's probably a wave 3. So that means that we can look at all of this move down here as simply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then an ABC here. So this will just be, let's just call it wave 1 here and wave 2 over here for the moment. So that's where the situation is. And this will be the same for the, well, the NASDAQ is also very messy up here as well, but on the triple Q, it's quite clear. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and we're looking for a correction. And then we've got this move down through here as well. So this will play out as a wave 4 coming back in over here somewhere, giving us some sort of little 5 waves from this low here somewhere, and then moving down, and then giving us, now that we have that larger 5 waves, then we'll be going down again at that point. So that's really how all of that's going to play out, and that's what I've used at this point. But I think that just to put the icing on the cake and top it all off, we've got Apple here, which we've been using as being sort of central to the market. So we had this clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here. Now this didn't show up on all markets, and then we were looking for an ABC pattern here. I mean, based on the 5 waves, this was our primary count of this move here, but it was quite obvious that it could be wave 1 and 2, and in this case wave 3. Now on the S&P 500, this could have been wave 3 as well, but it wouldn't have sufficed on the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ would have had to be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and I just couldn't really see where that would come from as a 1 and 2 up against Google, Microsoft, and the rest of the crowd. So anyway, we've got a nice 5 waves down here, so we'll look for a corrective rally, and then 3, 4, 5 here, and we've just been going from 1,000 ticks to 100 ticks here. So we're just looking at, well, this morning we called a low in here. It did just drop down a tad more, but anyway, the A, the B, and the C here. So the NASDAQ and the S&P, they'll be doing a wave 4 here, doing something a little bit different with all of this. But anyway, I don't want to talk about the trades on this one. We do that in the stock video. But basically that 1 and 2 is sitting there for that, and I won't look at the other stocks. But so this is where this is at the moment. We'll be looking for basically in the bigger picture here 1 and 2, and the third waves normally come around the bottom of the previous wave, the previous low, and the same for the top as well. The wave 3 would come in around the previous top here if we were looking for a move to the upside. So when we didn't really get that here either, So yes, anyway, 4 and 5 coming down into the 43 here, which is the 38.2% here. I could look at this structure in other ways as well. I don't care. I just put my trading hat on, and I know that we need to be short in this market, which we are already, and we need to be long over here, and we need to do trade management within all of that. So on the 20 tick chart, going 20,000 ticks going to the intraday here. So in a nutshell here, we'll be looking for 5 waves down here for 2, and then 3 down here somewhere, and 4 and 5 in this space here. Then we can push up from that point. So that's what we're looking at on the 1000 tick chart here, where we got a trade. I think we talked about another trade here yesterday, but I can't remember what I said about it. But it doesn't matter. We're just going to keep the stop out of the way, because if you want to take money off the table, then that's fine. Otherwise, we'll be looking for some sort of little ABC here in line with Apple at this point, and this one over here probably won't go very high either. It'll probably fail in this consolidation. It's going to get quite messy in here, really. So we're just going to leave the stop out of the way, and yeah, but of course we're going to look to add to the trade over here. I don't want to get involved in it here, it's just sort of stupid, but we're definitely going to leave the stop out of the way. So if you wanted to take money off the table, I would have got it here if I'd done the video a little bit earlier, but woulda, coulda, shoulda. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to take money off the table to protect things, you can do it over on this wave one here, and that will be at 44.30 at that particular point in time. So that's the S&P, and yeah, we don't have this. I mean, I've got this as wave one here, and I know that other Elliott folks would throw stuff at me, but basically because of the SPY, the SPY, we could count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So that's the way I'm going. It's not a real, I mean, if we had a sort of a triangle pattern here, then we could, textbook style, we could accept an overlap of wave one in that case. But yeah, we have to remember that Elliott, when he made the rules for this, you know, we didn't have, you know, he didn't make it off derivatives, you know, it was off the Dow Jones, and things were a bit sort of, it was a different game then, you know. I mean, we've got computers trading now, we've got, you know, futures, and we've got, you know, hedge funds coming in on smaller markets, and all sorts of things are going on. So you've got to be a little bit philosophical, and I tend to look at all the other markets and try to find some general theme, and then sort of stay with that, and then be a bit philosophical on the sort of count and so on. Anyway, that's my story, and I'll stick to that for the time being. So we've got the NASDAQ here, and you know, it pushed up a little bit higher, certainly into the supply up here. It hasn't really moved down. You know, it hasn't moved down like the SPY, but just coming back to that, coming back to this picture here. It was interesting, actually. I'm not sure where my chart is. The XLK, the other ETF here, that actually made a new high up here as well. So really, I don't have 5 waves here yet for this. So, you know, technically we could look at this as an A and a B and a C wave here, and then just go up from there. That's the truth of the matter. So we won't go short in, I mean, we're short in the NASDAQ already, but if you're not short, then you really need to wait for this wave 2 over here. So we'll need to have, you know, 5 waves down, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 down here, then the ABC pattern over here, and this is what we'll look for tomorrow. That should be about the right timing. I don't know what day is it now? That's Thursday, so we should be seeing Wednesdays and Thursdays have normally got, I just want to double check, I've normally got some sorts of announcements coming out. So we've got the jobless claims today. So I mean, that's a bit of a thing about good news, bad news, isn't it? Bad news is good news, rather. There's nothing really on Friday, actually. Consumer credit, well, yeah, nothing really there. Pretty quiet, actually. So anyway, we'll see. If we get this 5 waves down here, then you know that you're going to get another 5, okay? So that's the gist of it, really. So anyway, this is turning over here, yeah, let's just go from the daily chart to the intraday chart here, first step. So we're looking for 5 waves down here on this. Let's just plot. I mean, the futures market here, this has got the futures in it, will, you know, it's going to drift in the Asian session. So we'll probably see this consolidate and drop there, because the Asians are going to drop as soon as they open in their stocks, aren't they? You know, so that weight is already there. And you've got to be careful about wave 2s. Sometimes they come really high, sometimes they don't, you know. So we just need to be a bit careful. Better to count the structure, just count the 5, 3, 5 here, and just keep an eye on on the other guys, but this is where we'll be looking to short again over here. We've got 2 positions in here, but we'll be looking to short over here for this. If we get those 5 waves, then we'll be able to short at that 50-60% retracement level area there. So we'll need to validate that first. I like that saying from the Bitcoin red eyes, don't trust, verify. Let's tell my wife that. Sorry, darling, I don't trust you. I've got to verify you. No dinner for me. Anyway, so that we need 5 waves down here, right? So, and we know that this is all messy, but we know from the other markets that, you know, we can view this in certain ways. So when we go in here, it's going to be messy. I haven't cleaned this up, I don't think, at 1000 here. So let me just get this in here. So yeah, I haven't really labeled it and done anything with this actually, but we've got this position, and what we'll do, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that what we'll do is we'll just wait for this to play out here. It'll be something like this. I'm not worried about it. We'll get this over here, and then we'll look to short this over here. So we don't have to do anything in the next session, you know. So hopefully Thursday will give us this corrective rally, and then because we're in a bearish market, Friday and Monday we'll be able to hold short and sort of load up on these guys if it plays out. You know, we don't have those 5 waves down here yet, but we do in other markets. So that's the big boys, and I'll come over to the Russell here, and this is just the ETF here. So we were just using this for a count here. We're talking about, we were in here yesterday and we were looking for one more move to come down. So that's coming down. This is a little bit, this is pretty much in line with Apple actually. So we'll see something like this, and it'll jump and then down. I wouldn't expect it too big, but basically we need to be short in here. We weren't shorting the Russell, the ETF. We're more interested in, this is the sort of CFD or futures market. So it's the same thing here. We're looking for this to move down into the 61.8% with 5 waves down here. We'll be looking for some sort of little rally. I wouldn't expect too much out of it. It could even be something like that, you know. So the point being here is that not so much in the Asian session to short this, but wait for it to US to wake up, and just in case there's another little low in here. It looks all pretty good to me, but this little spike here needs to be accommodated, so it's possible to do that. So we have to wait for this wave 2 over here, and yeah, so we got a bit of time. I mean, you should be able to see Apple in all of this, because this is, you know, this move down here is the same as Apple's move down here as well. So we should be able to see some sort of ABC pattern here, you know, to short it. This is, we're looking to short here because this is the supply in here, the 61.8% is up here, and if it goes up there we'll short it as well, but it was more likely we're going to be around this consolidation area in here for that. So you can keep an eye on that count and just have a look around the paddock, and you'll see other markets doing much the same. But we probably need to drop this down here somewhere. Anywhere to short it in here will be fine. We've got the 5 waves, so we're good to go. We don't need to make it any harder than it is. So we'll look for a short trade here. We can also short on the low here, but not in the Asian session, okay? So otherwise you're going to be carrying green, then red, and then green. So we'll look for that low, and if you can, well, we'll catch it back up here. I mean, somewhere, see this little consolidate, this is the one here really. These lows here, this is where it's going to start, that in the little top here, and then into this space. That's where it is there. So that's where you want to be looking at that short trade, and then build in over here as well. Don't forget, this is going to be a 3rd wave here. So this is going to be longer than this one here, and it's going to go, you know, if everything goes according to plan, and shit, sometimes it does. That will give Friday, Monday, and Tuesday all of that move down here, you know. So that's the Russell, and we're over to the European markets. So first of all, with the DAX here, this DAX could be 1 degree higher. as an intermediate rather than a minor. And secondly, it could also be wave 1, but sort of in line with Apple and a few others. But I'm not that happy about calling it wave 1 up there, because if it was a wave 1 up here, then I would want the first leg down here to be 5 waves and not 3 waves. I know it's doable at 3 waves, but for a large wave 2, I want a 5-3-5 structure, and I just don't have that over here. So I'm going to stay with my wave 4. It doesn't really matter if I've got that right or wrong. All we need to do is that we're currently short in here. We'll try to get down as far as we can, and once we're down here, we've got our 5 waves here. We're going to just be going long, and that will be, that will be it at that point. And we can work out the rest of it as we go. But I still probably won't even know when we have 5 waves up here. But it doesn't matter as long as we're making money. So that's all good. So we're just going to drill into here. I mean, the good news about this too is that this is not 5 waves. So that means that that this whole move here, this sort of, could be also part of this. We could get 3 waves out of this. This is 3 waves. That's 3 waves. This is 3 waves. We can be in some large expanding pattern here. So, but anyway, we'll get there with it. It's not a drama, and we may end up just getting 3 waves down here too. So I'll keep an eye on that. But it should move in line with the S&P, this one. So. In this case here, I've rearranged this a little bit. The count's still the same. I've just tidied it up and cleared things up a little bit, but it's still the same. We had this as 1 and 2, and we'll look for the 3rd wave, and now we've got the 4th wave in here, a bit of overlap, but and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, ABC for 4, 5 here. So an A and a B, it's kind of almost more advanced than Apple actually. So we should see this and then down again here. So it would be nice to short this here. That means bringing this down a little bit. I mean, the supply here is this top and this low here, all of this here. So it's really a little bit lower here. So you might want to consider, you don't have to make it a big bet. If you normally trade, 3 contracts or something, just put 1 in, or if you trade 5, just put 2 in or something, but definitely we need to look further. If this does play up here, if it goes above the 5-15-8, then we'll just use a classic trading levels pattern to get back into it. We need to get a position up here. It's going to want to test up here. This area here is the 61.8% of this whole move here. So it's going to want to sit there for, well, it is sitting there, This is the 50, this is the 61 here. So this is basically, this is where it's finding support. And, obviously it's deep into, demand here as well. So eventually this will just bobble along here and eventually fail and retest it and then drop here. So it's going to be messy. So keep the stop out of the way. You could probably bring this down to break even. But we'll probably look at that tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow. Don't need to do that. It's not going to go far. We've got 5 waves down here. I suppose you could get an ABC out of it as well, really. You could go an A wave, a B wave here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you could get that, but, it's come down quite deep off all of this. I think we're on the right track. I mean, it is possible for it to be that, because this is in 3 waves here. That means that it can move up there. So there is risk in this situation, but I think we've got it pretty much under control. If you're concerned about it, then take a little bit of money off the table at this point. So if you do get stopped out up here, you're at break even at least, So that's the DAX, and I'll just leave that there. And the FTSE. So basically, we want the FTSE to come down as well with the other markets. But in this particular instance, we've got this here in 3 waves. We don't have 5 waves here. We were looking, we'd been looking for a top in the box here. And from this box, we're looking for it to move on down. I've got it as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. And for it to come down further. Now, it can be an ABC and just go straight up from there. So the safe short trade is under here, and another one not so safe under this particular point here, because that could just get triggered here and then move back up at that point. So you want that first low below the level here to be in place. So I'll just bring that over there. So you want it to test lower first and find that low, and then put it 1 point below that low there. So when it does get triggered, it's taken everything out of the market depth to get triggered. It's proving to you that it's strong. So this is where this market is. We were looking at this, let me just go to the 20k here. I don't really understand the count here, to be honest. You know, I'm nothing that I could actually say for sure, and you know, and give you a lot of confidence in it. To me, I'm just in the guessing game here, probably with everybody else that's trying to do it. Maybe there's somebody, you know, that knows, you know, has got a lot of confidence in. But basically, obviously, we can see this as an A and a B and a C wave down here. And the move up here can be counted as 3 waves, and it can be counted as 5 waves. However, this particular move here is in 3 waves. And the thing about this, and even on the cash market, it's taken the low out here. So it's kind of left it as corrective. So I was looking for a C wave to move up here, and I can count 5 waves up here. Even if it made another top on that ABC, if it made another top here, I'd still look at it as a top here and still look for it to come down one more time here, you know, based on that 3 wave move here. So it is a little bit complicated, but that's sort of how I'm looking at it. You could probably get a triangle out of all of this as well, but yeah, so I don't really know this, but based on what I can see with the rest of the markets around the world, is that we need to come down, and the FTSE doesn't have to do the same as the other markets. We've seen that before. So that's the FTSE. So we're looking for a short trade. And then we've got over to the Aussie. Now, you know, this particular account here is my favorite, even though it's the worst, you know, it's very complicated. And yeah, and I could easily be wrong here as well. And I'm sure every Elliott person's got a different count with all of this. And so when I find these complications like this, I really just sort of zoom into the intraday and try to figure things out, and that's really what we've been doing. We try to, you know, count up to the top here as that particular structure, and then to come down again with, you know, with Apple and the rest of the world to come down into this point here. So yeah, so I'm just looking at this as a massive triangle really. Here as some sort of A, B, C, D, and E here. And kind of weirdly enough, it kind of matches up with some other commodity markets as well, and also the banking, not so much Commonwealth Bank, but a lot of the other banks, when you look at them in Australia, going way back to 2008, are in big triangle patterns as well. So they're just vibrating sideways. That's really what's occurring here. And, you know, the Aussie dollar's weak, so you know, that's a little bit of an issue. The China days are gone for the short term, at least. But we see China in a big triangle too. I won't bring that up. I'll bring it up now and again. That's coming to the end of its triangle, so something will happen eventually. But the Aussie dollar definitely needs China there, even though the terms of trade are the highest they've ever been. But still needs that supply for China to lift that Australian dollar. Yeah, we've got a new governor at the bank as well. You know, I feel a bit sorry for her. You know, when the shit hits the fan, you've got to bring the women in, you know, to fix the problem. But they've only got one tool to do 2 jobs, so I can't see them doing much. And then they can't really lower the rates, you know, against the rest of the currencies. And yeah, so they're in the poop a little bit. Anyway, this situation here, I'm thinking this will just follow Apple down, you know, and the other markets down in terms of looking for 5 waves down here. That's what I'm thinking. So we'll just go in and have a look at that. Rightio. So there's we can look at this in different ways. We're also looking at it as a bullish count. We can look at this as wave 1 and 2 here, but it needs to move up from that low. That low really can't be breached at this point. So this would be wave 1 here and wave 2 right on this low here, because we've already got 3 waves down here. So we've had this going for quite some time, this particular trade. I don't particularly like it because wave 2 is really weird and so on, but yeah, I mean, we're just sort of playing it out. But any further low below this one here, and then that would be the end of wave 2 here. So I'm thinking that we're going to get 1 and 2 in here, and this is the 3rd wave down here, like the SP and the NASDAQ and everything else, and then have a little rally here for wave 2, and then have 3, 4, and 5 down here. That's what I'm thinking, you know, based on what we've got with the daily chart here. So this will all be just, we could just delete that and put this here and look at this as we're going to come down a little bit further, and then it'll bounce back off once it hits this support area here, and then wave 3 to come down, and 4 and 5, so coming down just below the 7,000 area there. And I think I'm just yakking a bit, so I've just got to sharpen up and come back here. So this is it on the 1000 tick chart here. So if I can just borrow these over here, we can put this as 1 and 2 up here, and 3. So it's very much like the NASDAQ and the S&P here, and 5 here. So there's not a lot to do here, actually. It's going to hit all this support here, and the 72 is very central to, you know, it's the old COVID high, and it's really there's all this pattern is the market bobbing along along this number here. That's how I see the market. Try and find it as support. Yeah, in a nutshell, this can be an A wave, a B wave, and we just go straight up from that point. But otherwise, we'll go up for a wave 4. Coming back to this consolidation, I probably made that a bit high, but into that consolidation, and then have another move down. Now this wave coming down here, because extensions in wave 3, we could look at wave 1 and wave 5 roughly the same length, so we could do, you know, do something like that. So maybe 71.50 there somewhere, 71.50 the midpoint, probably, yeah, be reasonable guess. So if you're going to go 50, then you could put in 45 as well, 48 and 45 and 43, but that's it. So I think that the best thing to do is to kind of wait for this little guy over here of this wave 2. Now I've probably drawn this too big as well, and it makes it look like we've got plenty of time. I don't think we've got plenty of time. So, but once we've got this one more low in here, then that's shortable, then the second low is shortable, and then we'll try to track this up here for the ABC pattern at that point. But we'll go to the 100 ticks and just check on that a bit. I already got a short there, so I think we talked about another short too, I can't remember. But anyway, let's get some, just get a bit more data in here. That's enough there. So yeah, this is the same as the other markets really. So this move, this is at 61 point. This is this is actually 62 to 65, the pocket, as I think some folks call it. But this will probably be something like this, some short covering rally back into supply here, and then we'll probably see it sort of struggle on down in here somewhere to 71.50 as we mentioned before, and then we'll see some sort of move back up here that will try to get at the top here and then come down again at that point. So we'll see. You know, sometimes it can do, you know, move a bit. It should be something like this here. This is a wave 2, so it should be something like that, you know, a little bit bigger, but that's what we should be looking at. So the short trade really will be over, you know, the next one should be over here, but we need to sort of count that. So this today will be this and this, and then this will be overnight probably, while Apple does its final leg. So it's going to be a midnight express, so to speak. yeah, I think that's about it, guys, really. So this is going to be a bit tricky. We're just going to, we can bring the stop down here somewhere. We'll just bring that down. I think we talked about going short again, but I can't remember. It doesn't matter. We've got one in. It's just really about me helping manage the stop a little bit and getting some more in here. But the thing here is that I think this is going to occur like in the night session, you know what I mean? So you might not get it, so to speak. So you might have to put a limit order in to get it, but we definitely want to, once that low's in, we want to be in the second low. We should be around, we should be around that for today. I mean, I'll just put it out the way here, but you know what I mean anyway. So we need to get that move down, which is this one here. This one took a whole day to get down. Things normally take longer than I expect, but if you can't see it here, go over to the other markets like Apple here. Apple's got the A wave here kind of already, and the B wave here, but Australia will trade while this is not trading, so in the US markets, this has got to, it looks like a little 5 waves up here, so it may or may not be finished. It needs this and then down, So anyway, we'll wait for a mess to occur over here, and I mean, pretty much sort of, if you've got a position up here and you've got money in the bank, then shorting anywhere sort of in this space around here would be fine. That would be 32. So probably, yeah, might see that gap there, might want to get that. So it's going to be between 35 and 35, 34, 72, 34 and 50. I mean, if that gap's on the futures market, we'll keep an eye on that. That will definitely get covered at some point. It could go quite higher here, That's anything's possible. That's 50, 60% there. So I suppose we've got to put it in. We'll look at it and mull it over. Anyway, we've got a bit of time, so all good. Okay, I'll leave it all at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.